Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I'm going to share with you what I believe to be the top 5 mistakes made by do-it-yourselfers. Let's get started. Number 5. Make yourself familiar with the task at hand. There is no sadder phone call that I get than from people that jumped into something, didn't know what they were getting into, and then found themselves in trouble. Prime example, this car that I have, it does not have a valve cover. I get call after call, message after message, with people saying that somebody tried to replace the valve cover gasket. This car has a cam cover, intricate part of the engine. If you pull those screws out of there and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be in deep kimchi. Let me tell you, you got to get familiar with the task at hand. Read a manual, watch some videos, talk to somebody that's done it a few times. Get familiar with the task at hand, because if you get into it and you don't know what you're doing, you're probably going to mess something up. Then you're going to be calling somebody like me trying to back out of it. That is a mistake. Get familiar with the task at hand. Make sure you understand what you're getting into before you get into it. Number 4, you need to have the proper tools to complete the task at hand. A butter knife is not a screwdriver. A hammer is not a breaker or a cheater bar. When people get the wrong tools to complete the job that they're trying to do, it normally ends in either broken tools, broken parts, and sometimes injury. You know, this back to this cam cover, it has small screws in the top of it. They're 10 millimeter. Probably should be installed with a 1/4 inch tool. There are people that take a 3/8 inch tool and tighten things down. They end up stripping out the parts, breaking off bolts, stuff like that. You do not want to try to do a job with the wrong tool. Make sure you have the tools to do the job. It'll go a lot easier, be a lot safer, less likely to damage your equipment, your vehicle, or whatever else you're working on. Common mistake number 3, getting cheap parts. You know, I almost don't understand it when we're dealing with fixing our own cars, fixing our own, floors or doors or whatever. You're saving hundreds of dollars off the task, and then you're going to go and try to find the cheapest part you could find. Man, I don't understand it. Now, if you can't afford the good part, I understand. But there are people that will buy a $5 part, cheap one, instead of a $10 part. Don't do it. It ain't worth it. Especially when you're dealing with stuff that is critical to your completion of your job. An example of that is a timing belt. Why would you go and try to save $35 off of $200 worth of timing belt parts when if one of those cheap parts fail, it'll destroy the engine of your car? It makes no sense. I don't understand it. There are also people that buy cheap sensors instead of good sensors. The absolute best place, for an example, to buy parts for your car is at the dealership from the manufacturer of your vehicle. When they had that car manufactured, they had a goal that every part would last beyond the warranty. So typically, their parts will last 3 years. Some of these cheap parts you buy from these no-name stores or even the chain stores, those parts are designed to be sold, hopefully last you a year so that you can get past their short warranty. A lot of times the parts are not even manufactured right, don't even work from the time you put them on. I see it all the time. Buy good parts from the manufacturer. Another option you may have, you may know a secondary market from companies that have improved things for your vehicle. Great source of good parts. Just don't get on eBay trying to find the cheapest part you can find just to get you by. It may not get you by a week. when manufacturer parts or other secondary specialty parts may last you several years. Sad thing about it is, some people even think buying cheap parts is cute. They laugh about it, they giggle about it, and you know, often if it fails, they'll be stranded on the side of the road or something like that. You know, if you're tight on money, you may even find an OEM part at a salvage yard or something. A lot of times people have problems with their older vehicles. They'll start throwing parts at it, sometimes good parts. Things don't work out because something more serious was wrong. The car ends up in the junkyard, often with brand new OEM parts on it. So hey, find out what parts are good. Use those parts, especially if the job takes more than 5 or 10 minutes to complete. You don't need to be swapping cheap part after cheap part when you can get a good part that'll last you 3 years or more. Number 2, safety first. It is a major mistake that a lot of people make when working on their own things. I'm a tinkerer with cars, a car enthusiast, so that's what I'm going to pick on. But you don't want to be in your engine working on electrical stuff with the battery connected. Makes no sense. You don't want to get under a car, under the scissor jack that came with the car, or even a hydraulic jack. I got a good friend that had a car jacked up with 2 professional grade hydraulic jacks. One of them blew out and fell. Less than a second later, the other one fell right behind it. Vehicle landed on him, put him in a coma for 3 days, was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. It's not worth it. Put that car on jack stands or on a professional lift or something like that. Never get under a car that's on scissor jack. Those jacks were only designed for emergency roadside assistance in helping you change a tire, not for you to get under the car trying to pull parts from the bottom of the engine or transmission or something like that. Also, don't try to do jobs that are just dangerous for you. Man, if I don't feel safe, I don't do it. I don't let people call me up to come over to their house to swap out a transmission and all they got is a couple of hydraulic jacks. You need a professional lift or you need a hoist to pull that stuff out the top of the engine. I'm not coming over anybody's house trying to replace a transmission on some jacks or nothing like that. It's just not going to happen. You know, so hey, make sure you stay safe. Working on a car is not worth your injury. My mother-in-law expects me to come into her house every day with a digit missing. I ain't got time for that. She told me that every shade tree mechanic that she knows has a digit missing. I'm not trying to lose a finger, cut myself, or get crushed trying to fix something on the car. If it doesn't feel safe to me, I simply don't do it. What I believe is the most common and number one mistake that most mechanics and shade tree mechanics and do-it-yourselfers do, they over-tighten things. I don't know why, they just do. They got this fear that if it's not tight enough, it's going to break. Well, sad to say, when you over-tighten it, that's what's going to break it. Back to this cam cover. You don't take a 3/4 inch tool, 1/2 inch tool, or even a 3/8 inch tool, tighten in a 10 millimeter bolt. You're going to strip it out, or you're going to break the bolt. Some people get these things, they tighten them as tight as they can with a large tool, and then it breaks. Then they're standing there with busted equipment. I've heard of people breaking sockets out of the spark plug wells. People over-tightening lug nuts on their wheel with an impact gun. You should never install a lug nut with an impact gun. That ratcheting, hammering action could actually crack the lug nuts. You're driving down the street, those cracked lug nuts that are over-tightened, break, pop off your wheel goes while you're driving down the street. I actually had a situation on my daughter's car. I was replacing struts. The bolts that bolt the strut to the knuckle were one-time use bolts. I was on use number 4. I tightened them down. They just didn't seem to want to torque right. So I stopped. A month later, she was parking the car. One of the bolts actually broke in half, came out, and while she was parking, her wheel fell away from her car. That could have been a dangerous situation. So, don't over-tighten things. All of these bolts and screws and nuts on cars have torque values, and that torque value should be observed as best you can. Never over-tighten things. Try to use your torque value, find out the torque values, and tighten things properly. That's just a way to avoid damaging your equipment and getting things on so that they stay on. I decided to give you all a bonus tip. And that tip is, don't start a job that you don't plan to finish within a few days, or at least within the next week or two. I get calls all the time. People took an engine apart 9 months ago. Now they're trying to get it back together, and they don't know how it goes back together. If it's not one that I've done, I really don't know. I've only done one cylinder head on a P2 car, a car with a VVT hub. I don't know how those cams go back in there. I got a video showing you how to do the seals on it, but I don't know how those covers go. So if you call me, I'm probably not going to be able to help you. So the tip is, don't take it apart if you're not going to be putting it back together real soon, or you're probably going to not know how the parts go back together, or even where the parts are. I hope these warnings and tips help. Thank you very much for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.